I think my issue with episode 1 of Stranger Things Volume 5 is that this final season is reported to only have 8 episodes. What I expect to have in the final season of a show is a sense of urgency, a sense that this is coming to a head right now. And I kind of want that from the very first episode. It kind of feels like we're kind of meandering. We're reintroducing the characters. We're reintroducing what the story is, where we are. And the reason for that is the Duffer brothers and Netflix's inability to control the production of this show and really say, we need this within a year, and every season needs to be coming out at that pace, at that clip. It's been so long since season 4 of this show that I have watched the entire show and I still feel like I'm going into this season blind. So therefore there is a necessity from the show's perspective to spend the first 5 or 10 minutes, or possibly even the first full episode, to basically recap what has come before this episode, before this season, and to reintroduce everything takes a lot of the finality away from this episode. That being said, I will say that I did enjoy a lot of this. Because the reintroduction is necessary, I did think it was pretty good. I still like the large majority of these characters, even though I don't think that a lot of their dynamics are fresh. I think you can kind of tell that the show is struggling to, let's say, reinvigorate or evolve or to change the character dynamics, to find new perspectives and to find two characters that haven't interacted and put them together on screen for a long period of time. I think the biggest example of this is Joe Keery, or Steve, in the show, who for some reason is still pining after Nancy, who he lost in, the end of season 1, the start of season 2. There is no reason that should be his storyline or his subplot in the final season of the show. I felt like we would have a stronger and more clear and concise idea of who he is as a man after 10 years of the show. What I will heap praise on is the fact that I don't think Millie Bobby Brown is an excellent actress. At best, I think she's probably a B-tier level actress, but the show very quickly in this first episode reintegrates her relationship with Finn Wolfhard's Mike, and that's really clever because her best moments of acting across her career so far have been in scenes with Finn Wolfhard. There seems to be a connection between them two that they are able to bring out the best of each other. I'm not really sure that I like a lot of the retconning of stuff concerning Will Byers' character to essentially allege or to speculate that a lot of what we're seeing now has been planned from season 1. You can kind of see that that's not true, and it's kind of just been an afterthought. And finally, I will say, I think it's really weird that Caleb McLaughlin's character, Lucas, is reintroduced in this episode as being this big jock character who is like the protector of the rest of the group, and he's bigger than the rest and he's got muscles and he's very tall, and actually he's kind of just the same size as them. He has no muscle whatsoever, the same as the rest of the group. I have no reason why it would be that they chose him specifically for that.
I'm 102% African.
Okay, that was episode 2. I feel kind of weird about this episode. I have 2 main issues with it. One, there are 2, let's say, violent acts, violent incidents involving 2 supporting characters that form the basis of part or half of this episode that happens off screen, basically in between episode 1 and episode 2. That's fine in some respect. However, we are then shown part of that, and we are shown that it is being quite violent and quite gory. And this is concerning something that is extremely upsetting. The other half of the episode is extremely comedic and continues to have the almost childlike tone and the childlike wonder of this show being basically a sci-fi show for kids. The issue with that is that the Duffer brothers have continued to say that they want to age this show, and they want this show to age with its audience. It feels almost to me like a studio decision to say, you can't have this be a super serious episode. There has to be some sort of comedic element to it. And the comedic element being Maya Hawke, do not get me wrong, she is very good at that, but I'm not sure that it has a place in this episode. I think it feels dramatically out of place. The fact that the reveal at the end of this episode does not reveal anything new other than the return of a character that we would have assumed going into the season was set to return anyways. And this is the first major spoiler. That character being Vecna, such a, in some sense, is a waste of what the show was trying to build over these 2 episodes. I am kind of just left a bit wanting because it's episode 2 and we're only just now reintroducing the main villain of the entire show, and I'm like, oh my god, he's not dead. Who could have thought? Fuck me. There's nothing overall like bad or like unenjoyable about this. I just don't think it really works in my brain for those 2 reasons that I've listed. I want this 3rd episode to start picking up on what should be a roller coaster. I believe the Duffer brothers have also referred to this season as a roller coaster. Currently, I feel after the first 2 episodes pretty stationary and like I haven't moved at all. So we need to start hitting some fucking heights because you haven't done it yet. And I'm starting to get a bit...
I'm starting to get a bit shaky, you know? I mean, I'm a little bit...
You've got 6 episodes left. You've got 2 episodes left in this volume. The next episode has to be big. So I've watched episode 3 now. As you can tell, that the day behind me is going to get darker and darker. I feel as if this is the best episode of the 3 that I've watched so far. This is also the longest. They are getting longer, I believe, in length with each episode. And this, in my opinion, kind of redeems the first 2. Where my issues lied with those 2, I feel like this one kind of buttons it up. And it kind of eliminates the problems that I had with the first 2 episodes, which is that it wasn't moving at a swift enough pace for me, where I actually felt like there was a sense of finality and that we were coming to a concrete end with Stranger Things. With this, it is all driving the plot forward and getting us to a point where when we're entering that 2nd volume, I want to be entering a stage with episode 5 through to 8 where there is no messing about. We are basically just here for the conclusion of this story, and we're not really wasting time on stuff that doesn't matter. We're not wasting time on recapping what came before or setting up a new season of the show. And with this episode, I feel like we're finally getting down to that. We're finally getting an idea of what the military are actually doing in this season. And I think up until this point, the military has kind of been handled with kid gloves, which I think is probably a political decision as much as it is a narrative decision, to be honest with you.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
And I also think that the final reveal of this episode being that Sadie Sink is finally returning and is coming back for presumably the next 6 episodes is a very strong reveal, because in my opinion, if we divide the categories of actors that are in this show, there are basically everyone who is under the age of 25 who are playing the kids/teenagers. And then you've got the actors who are above 25, so your Joe Keerys, your Charlie Heatons, your Natalia Dyer, who are 20, 21, let's say. And then you've got your Winona Ryders and your David Harbour. Of everyone below the age of 25, I feel like Sadie Sink is the concrete best actor of the bunch, and not having her there as part of the ensemble, in my opinion, is kind of detrimental to the rest of the cast, because she provides a good base among the younger cast. When there isn't a Winona Ryder or a David Harbour, I feel like she is a good 4th or 5th option. I'm looking forward to the next episode so much more because she has now been revealed, and because that is what I feel like I've been waiting for. I feel like the show is essentially signaling to me and the rest of the audience that, oh, she's here, now we go. Now critique us. Now, if we're not moving quick enough, we've given you that reveal. We're telling you and we're signaling to you, all systems go. If it's not all systems go, this has to be it where you set everything up. I feel like you've had a good base. Some issues with episodes 1 and 2. Episode 3, I feel like you've gotten a lot better. All right, now you're telling me everything's on the table now. We've set up everything we need to for the final 6 episodes. We've set up everything we need to for the final 5 episodes. This is it. This is the final stretch. I have somewhat mixed feelings on this episode. I don't think that this is bad by any means. I like Stranger Things at its most when it has the run and gun nature of this episode. It's not really trying to trick you into thinking that it's a serious show that has a lot of deep themes, that wants to show you that it's complex and that it's prestige TV. When Stranger Things accepts at its core that it is really just a sci-fi show, its foundation was for children. When it accepts all of those foundations, I think it is at its best. And when it just sort of is like, you know what, we're just going to go for like an hour. In this case, nearly an hour and a half. That's when the show reaches its pinnacle for me. And that's what I really like about this episode. I like that Sadie Sink is back. I like the action in this. I think that actually the action is quite high level. But this show is what I would say for a show of this kind. I wasn't expecting a long one-take sort of scene on this show, but I appreciated it and I really liked that. I think that there's a lot to like about this episode. On the other hand, what I will say is that the 2 reveals at the end of this episode are very mixed for me. First off, the reveal that the character who the military have been hiding is actually 8. I don't care, and I'm not really sure why anyone involved in the production of this show thought that I would care. And it shows you the sort of detrimental and laissez-faire production that Stranger Things has gone through, that as soon as it was revealed who that character was, to ensure that we all knew who it was, it flashed a scene from season 2, which came out in like 2017. That's insane. This is season 5. 8 years ago, season 2 came out. What the fuck? And I'm meant to care about this character returning? I don't give a shit. I don't care at all who this is. I care about, my boy Will. I care about my boy Finn Wolfhard. I care about my boy Lucas. Sadie Sink is back. I care about her. Fuck do I care about this chick for? I don't give a shit. I'm going to take her off my screen immediately. On the other hand, the reveal and the basically gifting of powers to Will Byers, I really like. At a conceptual level, I think is a great choice for his character. It really cements his story as a coming-of-age moment, a true LGBT story that has a culmination and a realization that he does not need the acceptance of anyone else. He does not need to be in a fully open and out relationship in order for him to be comfortable in himself. Completely, I love all of that stuff. And I think that ultimately he has been the character who has really gone through the ringer through this entire show. And I think that this is really deserved for his character. On the other hand, does this not kind of eliminate the necessity for 11 as a character? Why, going into the final 4 episodes of this show, am I meant to believe that we need 2 of these people? Actually, 3 of these people, because we have this other girl. The level of power that immediately Will exhibits is more than 11 has ever showed throughout this show. And therefore, I kind of feel like it undoes a lot of her character, and I'm not really sure what the point is then of her. Her existence in this show kind of becomes futile. Ultimately, the decision to do this was made because it would benefit Will's character without the wider implications of what it means for the other characters, particularly 11. I don't believe that was really taken into account. I do really like these 4 first episodes. I think there's a lot to like here. I think that the pace overall has been kind of slow, but it has really started to ramp up and get to a point where I feel like the next 4 episodes, the final 4 episodes of this show, are going to be non-stop gung-ho, run and gun sort of behavior. And as I said, that's when Stranger Things is at its best, in my opinion. So in the long term, once this season is finished, I kind of think that the decision to start slow is probably justified, even if it does look a bit strange right now. However, I really enjoy this. I think it's a ton of fun. I think the action is a lot better than what I remember a lot of Stranger Things previously having. And ultimately, I am really enjoying this. As much as I have criticisms of this, I still just think that at its heart, Stranger Things is just a fun show that if you're really able to turn your brain off and you don't approach this from the critical lens that I approach this, it does work. It is fun. It is enjoyable. I don't think that in the long term, when we go back and we're like, oh, I'm going to rewatch the full show in 2 months, I think in those eras, once people start doing that, this show will have a lot of flaws exposed. But right now, this is turning out to be a pretty fun finale. I'm not expecting too much in terms of the Duffer brothers having a satisfying conclusion, in terms of the narrative. But in terms of delivering a fun final season, they are succeeding.